Hey everybody, it's Tony Night, 2009. I'm in the winner's room getting ready to talk to all the stars who've won. It was an amazing year on Broadway, one of the richest seasons I think I've seen in a very long time. So I'm excited to talk to the people who made it so and who win the day. Congratulations. This work is touching audiences all over the world. New York embraced it. You guys opened early on, and the season continues to be embraced because of its power, and it's certainly because of all the work you guys have done with it. How do you feel tonight with now New York and the Tony and the win?
It's a huge honor to be welcomed into the city and welcomed into the hearts of the people by a Tony Award. I mean, there's no greater honor for us. So we have it more or less unchanged here, and we put our faith in you, the American audience, to come towards us and enjoy what we'd put into it as Brits, because it is a very Brit piece of work.
And there were discussions about that when I was first coming over. Would it be changed? Would it be? And I was excited, and I think a lot of people were who loved the original in London, that it wasn't touched, it wasn't tampered with too much.
No, it wasn't. I mean, there were one or two little bits of vocabulary that clearly we noticed in our early previews that the American audiences we weren't getting the same laughs that we used to. But you know, the American audience is an intelligent audience, and it understands the politics, and it also understands the mechanics of musicals. And we had no problem. And as you see, Billy is doing very well at this year's awards, and we're delighted to see that. We're very, very grateful.
I just feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. The job it's definitely the best job I've ever had. I'm working with the most beautiful directors and cast and crew, and then to have this be an honor for me is it's humbling, and I really feel like I want to just be sharing it with our entire cast and crew, because I really couldn't have done it alone. And that's why I brought my wife up on stage.
Oh, that was so classic. Well, so great. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks.
Have an amazing night. Get crazy.
Thanks. Okay.
I'll see you.
All right.
It was a real surprise, and the fact that New York has taken to the story and embraced it and then celebrated tonight, it's a real big deal.
And it continues to, because you guys open up earlier, but everybody still, they won't let it go. Well, the story demands it, you know, it really does. And you brought it to glorious life. A film that touched a heart, and now I saw a great little story, completely, maybe this will make you feel cooler. The little boy with his mother, and they were leaving. I was going to another show, this Tony filming stuff, and he was outside, and they walked by, and he looked and he goes, I want to be him.
Oh, that is fantastic.
You know, I don't know if they'd seen the show or whatever, but just the fact that it's there is inspiring. So.
Great.
And then you got a Tony.
Yeah, well,
that is.
So many of the plays this year, such visual and sound and lighting.
Sure.
I think, you know, plays have sort of taken over what musicals used to do this year for the first part.
Sure.
And your work in Equus is one of the greatest. I mean, the feeling of dread at times with the work was so wonderful.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's an extraordinary canvas, actually, Equus. It's very rare. I mean, sound designers on straight plays go around to a certain extent. No matter how simple the show is, one has to apply a certain amount of taste and decency to whatever you're doing. But Equus was one of those plays that being such a blank canvas could take a great deal and take a great deal of interpretation. Now, I was very lucky because I had an amazing director in Thea Sharrock who led me in the right directions to start off with. But once that touchstone was established, we went to great places, and that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. But it's one of those plays that demands a certain amount of
demands you do it almost. Yeah, it demands when you open that text.
Yeah. Either you do or you don't,
Right.
and we were able to really grab the bull by the horns,
And
or the horns by the ears, possibly.
Or everything, whatever body, whatever part of the animal worked.
Absolutely, and off it charged.
I had to do it because it's too good.
Absolutely.
The show is too good for Broadway audiences not to see it. But actually, in reality, to bring a trilogy of plays with a group of unknown actors to this season is quite a frightening thing for any producer, because there's only so many dollars to go around.
No, it is.
And
it's a concern across the board.
No,
this season was almost supposed to be dead.
No, of course it was. And you know, when I took the decision to do it, it was a pretty quiet season, and bang, 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 show after show came on. But we plowed on, and I think that's why.
And happily so.
Yeah, but I think that's why I'm sort of in shock, really, because you know, you do the odds of the chances of you getting a nomination, let alone winning, and they're pretty low.
Yeah.
Those odds.
You know, and you never.
And and I produced the Seagull.
Right.
And so it's frankly a lottery. It's a roll of the dice. It's
I think
timing.
You hit on
it's
something
timing.
earlier too. The characters, these people.
No, these people are very immediate, and the fact that we're in the round and that you're sitting with them and you're so connected, and they're so real, and Matthew's direction is so exquisite and so subtle, and he's got many moments of silence which allow you, the audience, to reflect,
especially
and ponder.
In that space too.
Yeah, and you're watching each other, watching it. It's a real sort of church-like experience.
Just feels like we're tapping a moment of idealism that the country is hungry for. New York is hungry for it. The country is hungry for it. I honestly think the world's going to be hungry for it. Diane has managed to unleash something from this show that it's just thrilling to watch audiences and Tony voters respond to.
Well, they asked me to come in, and they knew that I had done August Wilson. Sure. And I must say that about Lincoln Center and Bart. They really went to all of the actors that had worked with him, worked with August, and done his plays, so they knew that we would be familiar with the language and his voice. Yeah, exactly. And so I went in and met with Bart, and we hit it off. I was there an hour and a half. I was not supposed to audition, but Bart being Bart tricked me. He tricked me, and I said, and then that's how I came to be in it. He understood, and I understood that it would be a collaboration. He wouldn't be dictating.
It was important for this work, knowing that you knew it so well, and everyone would.
Well, I didn't know this particular play, but August, the rhythms of his speech, it's
musical in a way. It's a
that's very observant, because it's like jazz. I mean, the way he uses language is really incredible, and that's the challenge and the beauty of it to me. The only other person.
The challenge. It worked out pretty well.
Well, it's so far. Yeah, that's great. My name isn't on it, but that's all right.
They'll get that set for you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Matthew understands tension like nobody's business, and he understands danger, and he understands just it's an art. It is an art. I mean, he is an artist, because he understands that if you extend your arm too hard one way, that's telling the audience, I'm so angry, and they're not nervous anymore. But if you just say, give me a drink, Michael. There's something when you're relaxed and you're angry,
and the music and the sound and all the sound effects in your play.
There's only two,
and it's so powerful though.
But they're the beginning and the end.
And there, I talked about like it's the whole play, but it's not.
You say music and sound effects. There's two music cues, the beginning and the end.
As an actor, the work you've done. So many different roles. I mean, from Angels in America to here. They try to manufacture the year of the actor, but this really was the year of the actor. I think.
That's interesting. I think it's an awesome year to be on Broadway. It was so fantastic.
Next to Normal, West Side Story, Angela Lansbury, you've got a Carnage,
Billy Elliot, 35 Variations.
It's pretty amazing.
Waiting for Godot. I mean,
I liked my job for the first time. No, I'm
you know what? I have to say, it was a great season to be back on Broadway. Really good. And then you sit in here and you watch all these numbers. I mean, bloody Rock of Ages, which I would have thought I would have been like, Rock of Ages.
Yeah,
whatever.
but
I was sobbing like a baby, sobbing.
This is like a very strange dream.
Well, it's not a dream. You're here. There it is. That's the truth.
Oh my gosh.
This morning, what did you guys were rehearsing and everything. Is this like feeling of euphoria and exhaustion just kicking in, like when you heard your name called, you're like, oh, okay.
My husband and I discussed what I would do if my name was called, and I feel like I don't remember anything after they said my name.
Thank God for DVR.
Yeah, I honestly, people say, oh, your speech was nice. I was like, I have no idea what I said.
It was very good.
It was heartfelt.
I was crying. We all were crying and clapping, so you're
Oh gosh, that's nice.
Good. But it is what you brought to it. What you said, making it your own was one of the most important things, and certainly there's no better. This is a great season. Everybody said Broadway was dead, but to have West Side Story and Next to Normal and Exit the King and Angela Lansbury, I mean, what a feast.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I love that all of these people that are normally known for Hollywood, doing Hollywood things are on stage.
And I know from the journey you took with it and how it's grown and changed. And I heard you say a quote about how this role, everything comes to this point.
Yes.
And I felt that as I was every hand movement you would do and everything. Growing up in a household that wasn't quite unlike that.
Yeah.
I just let myself go. You know, but
That's
I was saying,
great.
this is
That's so
sort
great
of off
to
the
hear.
record saying, but
Thank you so much for telling me that.
Power just affected me to the point I didn't want to crawl up in a ball and like call my mother and say I'm jumping off the bridge, but I felt alive that I experienced something. So thank you.
Oh,
And then,
thank you so much for saying that, because my favorite part of the evening, it's hard to pick one because I love my job.
Oh.
I love doing the show, but
it's a feast.
favorite part
you,
is seeing the audience afterwards at the stage door.
Yeah.
And everybody's always saying, thank you for spending time with us, and I can't believe you spent so much time with us. But for me, it's like the icing, because I get to talk to the people who have experienced
and it's the
pain.
alchemy, it's primal, that's what you do it for. I loved your speech when you won about this is writing on a cave wall. It's what you're doing every night, in a way,
If you come to my Eddie, next time you come to the theater, come up to my dressing room, and you'll see I have a secret creative life where some people would call them paintings, but I call them scribbles.
I do art too. I went to school for art.
Well, I scribble, literally scribble, and that is what it is. Because if I don't feel like cooking, if I don't feel like singing, if I don't feel like playing drums or guitar, because I do those, I'm also a writer. If I don't want to do any of that, I don't want to say or make any noise.
Yeah, it has to come
out. I just scribble, and it's like, I don't know, this is probably going to be, but I'm doing something I'm doing something positive. I'm pushing it forward. And I'm trying to bring it together somehow. And it keeps me sane, believe it or not. And my house is just filled with these scribbled portraits.
But that has to find a way out. That has to, just like everything, you have to find a way out.
And then you feel great when you find that.
Oh,
and so when I talk to young actors and they ask for advice, which they always do, I say, what are you doing? Do you know that you're an actor and that's only one thing that you do? Or do you think you're only an actor? Because you have to think of yourself as, it sounds like a high and mighty, but it's not. You have to think of yourself as an artist.
An artist can't put in one little compartment and say, I'm the actor of this. You can't do that. You're strumming a guitar, you're winning a Tony. It's all part of the same tree of the creativity.
I think that it's really, really useful. It's just useful to look at it that way. Yeah. It's practical in a way, because when you're an actor, you're going to work. No matter whether you're James Gandolfini or somebody unknown, you're going to work and then you're going to be out of work, because that's just how it goes. So when you're not working, are you going to go insane and jump off the Empire State Building? Are you going to abuse people because you're so angry that you're not working? Or are you going to stare at the wall and drool? Or are you going to get up and do this? Until you find, maybe I'll go buy some tomatoes and make a stew or something.
Yeah, right,
and then you do that which is also very creative to me, cooking. Anything with colors, So I think it's useful to think of the whole first. Yeah. And then go, okay, well, it takes the pressure off me. Acting is something that I love to do, so I'll get up and do it every day. And if you do that every day, then, you're going to be a great actor.